Good evening, everyone, and welcome to the session. I still see some people coming at this time, so let me just add them. Yeah. Once again, welcome to the session. The course is Project Planning and Control. The course instructor is Professor Koshy Verghese from IT Madras, and I am Vedgopal Mahajan from IT Delhi. So let's talk about the course now. What you can see is that we are going to discuss some basic concepts related to project planning and control, and we'll focus on construction projects only. Then, who will find this course relevant? As you saw in the overview, uh, students, obviously undergraduates and postgrads, and it will also be beneficial for practicing engineers. The week plan is in front of you. As you can see that if you go through the week plan, you can see that we'll be discussing scheduling mostly. We'll just be touching cost somewhere around week 5 and some resource based scheduling on week 6. So now coming to the just give me. Let me relaunch. Just wait. Just a minute. Yeah, sorry for the disturbance. It happens with this technology also. See now again. I'm losing this. Just a moment, guys. Can you guys see my screen now? Anybody?
I think, sir, you are on
Yeah,
mute.
thank you. Actually, my writing pad is giving me some trouble, so that means I will be handicapped today. But okay, these things happen. So we were here, our first meet, and I can say that it has not started as I wanted it to be. So let's start. About me, I am Venugopal Mahajan, as I mentioned. I am a research fellow at IIT Delhi. My research area is data driven decision making, digital twins. So, what will we be doing during these sessions? First, weekly recap. What was the content of that week? Practice question and answer. This will be either from previous year's assignment, so that they are similar to the questions you will see in the exams, and discussions. And obviously, some will be from the standard textbooks. What can you expect from these sessions? From my side, there will be interactive problems. So this is supposed to be interactive session so that you don't miss the classroom experience. So it would be great if you discuss, if you reply. Uh, we will be discussing. You will also have an option to post your queries on the discussion forum on NPTEL. I will be checking them regularly and will reply there. Obviously, there will be some random quotes and some dad jokes. Now, what I expect from you is that you guys show some active participation, because this is a 2 hour long session and 2 hours is quite long if it is a monologue. And obviously, lots of questions if you ask. Previous experiences in these sessions were like, if there were discussions among the participants, the sessions went very well. And obviously, some of you are already practicing, and some of you have been on site, so there will be your experiences. So whatever the topic, or even if it's off topic but related to the course, please feel free to discuss your experiences. So that's very brief about me. Now I would like to know about you guys. See, I already said that this is an interactive session, so it would be great if you guys can turn on your mics. I'm not asking for the cameras, so if you can just let me know who you are and what you are expecting from this session, from this course. Uh, yeah, see, it's quite. It would be quite good uh, if we have some human connect. I really don't want this to be a monologue where I just go keep on droning.
Good evening, sir. Myself, Vijay Raghavan.
Yeah, good evening, sir.
Uh, I am working in Bangalore Metro Rail Corporation.
Okay.
I am working in metro projects. I want to know more detail about this project management, planning and details. That's why I have joined this course.
Okay. So as you would have gone through the contents, we will be mainly discussing the scheduling part only. I hope
Yes, sir.
I can make it interesting and good enough for you. And
Uh,
I really look
Thank you, sir.
forward to listening your experiences.
Yes,
Okay.
thank you.
Thank you. Others, please.
Good evening, sir. Myself, Ashish Wankade.
Yeah. Good evening, Ashish. Sir.
So, as sir said, he's from Bangalore and he's working on a metro project. As compared to me, now I'm studying in third year. So, I feel like, is it useful for me from now to participate in that in this course, or it will be better that I should continue this after my graduation?
Uh, Actually, okay. How was this course made? This course was recorded as a dual degree program. So BTech and MTech students sat combined for this session, and this was recorded in live classes. So definitely, this is from a scholars or students' perspective. So yeah, you will definitely learn a lot.
Okay. Thank you, sir.
Yeah, thank you. Okay, hello Sharon. Really looking forward to your experiences. Yeah, one more thing. You guys should let me know why you have joined the course and what are your expectations from this session. I will tell you these sessions started as just problem solving for 1 hour, but then they extended it for 2 hours. And quite frankly, if your weekly lectures are only 2.5 to 3 hours, 2 hours discussion session is very long. So if there is anything that I can impart from my side, do let me know. Okay, let's move on to something different and similar to what you have been seeing in the lectures. Is management science or art? Two pictures are in front of you. I am repeating it again. This is an interactive class, so sorry, the flow of the class depends on how much you reply, how much we discuss. So you have two pictures in front of you. The question is management science or art?
So, like if we see the first picture of Taj Mahal, at that time it used to be a more of a art side, but but the other picture that is of Statue of Unity. So now it is more of a science.
So is the only difference is that Taj Mahal was built quite a long back and Statue of Unity is new. That's why it shifted from art to science? Or can you point out any other difference? See, this is a rhetorical question, okay? I mean, you know the stories of Taj Mahal. You have followed the construction of the Statue of Unity from the inception of the project, and most of you might have already visited it. So, so is it so? What makes Taj Mahal an art, in your opinion? And
I think in ancient times, like there were no rigorous or systematic way of constructing something, but now knowledge base is really developed based upon failures and the responses. So that's why that in ancient time it used to be an art, but now it is more of a science, the management.
yeah,
In previous one, it is a time-taking process, but in new this statue, it is in planned and it's a science. It is planned and committed in time. And we have used a lot of new technologies like precast systems and erection. Lot of machineries are involved in this new statue.
but sir, at the time of building Taj Mahal, there might have been the tools that were quite recent at that time. Might be the newer designs of police or something like that. So, can the use of new technology be the dividing factor?
Time also one of the
Yeah,
technology and time is there.
yeah. I mean, Taj Mahal
In
took
the ancient
22
time, the
years.
time is there is no any time. Now we have the time and
Uh, yeah,
this.
Maybe it depends upon the the quality of uh, product we are getting. For example, nowadays we can get repeatable high quality results, but in ancient times that was not true.
yeah. Repeatability, one of the things with Taj Mahal. I mean, if we believe the tales, then the artisans' hands were chopped off so that they don't build another Taj Mahal, right?
Yes.
So you can say that repeatability was a important point at that time also.
Maybe also in ancient times maybe they could have tried like 10 or 5 times, and or maybe 20 or 30 times, then 31st time they could have been successful. But nowadays what it is like that every time if you follow the set procedures, you will be you know the product will be
Yeah,
uh, quality will be achievable.
yeah. So now we are getting towards something like we now have some system, we now have some set procedures, we now have reproducibility, repeatability. We are not people oriented right now, right? I mean, if you give the set of instructions to different teams, same set of instructions, they can build
Yes.
similar. I won't say exactly, but similar, right? So,
Yes, sir.
that shows some progression from science to art. So, this brings me to another question. What do you mean by a project? We have already seen different definitions of projects, right? So, what do you mean by a project?
A group of people working on it can
Okay,
be called as project.
group of people. We have got one thing.
It is a temporary endeavor that is undertaken to create a unique product or service.
Okay, temporary endeavor, the definition part.
Yeah.
Uh, so now let's try to mix both these things. We'll see what some bodies that are considered to be quite standard say about the project. Okay, so I am taking three bodies: Project Management Institute, a temporary endeavor undertaken to create a unique product, service, or result, or Association for Project Management, a unique transient endeavor undertaken to achieve planned objectives. See what is coming, what is the addition here? Okay, we'll see the addition part. They both talked about unique, transient, temporary. You can say okay, similar terms. Uh, Now, what thing is added is that you have to achieve a planned objective. Okay, from the first definition, you just uh, take some clay, start molding it, and whatever comes out, it can be a project, right? You haven't decided, you haven't fixed the objective that you wanted to make a cup or you wanted to make a bowl. But in the second definition, what added that it has to be undertaken to achieve planned objectives and which could be defined in terms of output, outcomes, or benefits. Okay, now coming to the third one, International Project Management Association. Here, the first thing that we discuss, the group of people that comes, a temporary organization with the purpose to deliver one or more business products according to an agreed business case. So now you can see that from the first definition, we got the uniqueness, we got that it is temporary and it has to create something. From second, we got that there has to be some objectiveness. Like you have to achieve your planned objectives, and how do you define the objectives? KPIs, CSFs, all that. But still, there is no talk of how will you achieve those objectives, right? In both the definition, how are you going to perform it? There is no mention of that. What third definition brings here is a temporary organization, giving it a structured way to do something. So from these three definitions, you can gather the key points about what a project is, what are its characteristics. um, okay, anybody like why we have why there are different project management institute or associations? I'm giving you three definitions, just trivia.
Because there are different nature of projects as well.
Okay, nature of projects. Okay, these three are basically only due to geography. Like PMI is US endeavor, project APM is from UK, and if you have something in UK, you definitely need to have something in Europe. So that's why we have IPMA from Europe.
Okay, sir.
Yeah. Okay, so now coming to the phases of uh, projects. How many phases are there in a project? Anybody?
Like if I talk in very general or abstract terms, like the start and the execution phase and then the finish.
Uh,
These are the three main.
okay, so you have to start something, you have to do it, and you have to end. Uh, so don't you think that start and end should be the events, like we are discussing construction project management, right? So the process is only of creating it, while others are just the events.
Yeah, like basically the time resources spent in the second one, that is the execution or the doing part.
Okay,
Yeah.
yeah, that is like you can say very abstract. Now let's Try to add some parts. If you want to do something, let's say uh, you want to you want to make a sandwich for your breakfast. What did you do first? You thought of doing it, right? You initiated it. Like nothing happened in air. Yeah, something happened. Some gray matter was used. So there is some initiation. Then you wanted to make a sandwich, so you planned for it. You started, okay, do I have enough materials, do I have sufficient time? Then you went into planning phase. Then you started collecting the ingredients, chopping them, started cooking. So that is your execution phase. Then you are already obviously checking it. Is it burning? Your sandwich shouldn't be burnt, right? So that kind of is your mm, what you can say, monitoring and control
Monitoring,
phase.
checking.
Now what next?
Like if there are any like gaps or something, so we're gonna take control over it.
Okay.
So can we take it as a design? Like we'll have to design it now after planning.
uh, yeah, but don't you think that, okay, here we will be just like splitting the hairs if we talk about only the five basic uh, phases. But yeah, after planning there should be a design phase, but then if you go on there will be like 10, 11 phases. In planning itself, people will add design phase. Okay, we were till the fourth phase, monitoring and control. What next? Guys, I already took you through the first four phases. Your sandwich is almost ready, and you have already made sure that it is not burning. What next? Maintenance and operations. Okay, how are you going to do this? Maintenance and operations in your sandwich.
Like last stage will be the just to consume it.
Okay, yeah, that is one thing. Operations, and then by adjusting temperature by not letting it burn. Okay, maintenance and operations. Eat it, definitely. So eat it means closure phase, right?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so now five basic phases. We have got one more, maintenance and operations. Guys, one more thing, that as uh, this session's content is limited to only the first week course content, and you have already gone through the course. So this one is going to be a little less on the technical side and more on the general discussion side, as this is just the overview. Okay, yeah, coming back after this disclaimer, we have got five phases now, and one more, demolition and maintenance and operations. So for these A, B, C, D, E, can you guess the phases? Okay, A,
First one is planning, I think.
first one is planning. Okay, this phase involves breaking down the construction activities, creating schedules, and mobilizing construction teams. Like, we are still using our gray matter, but taking care of all the resources that we have in hand. Okay, this is planning. Second, during this phase, a detailed construction plan is created, outlining the project scope, schedule, and allocation of the resources. So, what is happening here? Is this also planning?
So like it seems to be a mix of planning and scheduling both.
Okay, planning and scheduling. You'll see that this kind of this kind of detailed work is actually a part of execution phase. Okay, see, yeah, there will be quite overlap between all these phases. It is just, this exercise is just to give you the basic idea of different phases. Okay, construction schedule, I got one answer. C, the team studies traffic patterns and evaluates environmental impacts to plan the construction of a new highway interchange.
That's planning.
That's planning. Uh, okay. Anybody else? Okay, safety. Uh, See, okay, how I planned this was that in option C, the team is studying the traffic patterns and evaluating environmental impacts to plan the construction, right? It's like they have not even decided like what type of interchange should be there, what exact things should be there, but they are just initiating it. The gray, using their gray matter. So this was about initiation phase. Yeah, you can see that there is a significant overlap with planning phase. Coming to D, which phase includes conducting daily safety inspections and adjusting construction schedules to address delays due to weather. Uh, it it actually sounds like monitoring and control, right?
Yes, sir.
Now, E, during this phase, obtaining occupancy permits, handing over the keys to the shopping mall owner, and conducting final walkthroughs occur. So the mall is ready, you are handing it over, so closure phase.
Yes, sir.
So as we saw that there could be more phases, there could be some interaction, some overlap, and as my core area is digitalization, so I will bring an example from BEM. How many of you guys are not familiar with BEM? Okay, not familiar one. Okay. Mm, so I guess rest of the guys are quite familiar. So I won't go into the definition part. I will just give you a simple example. Uh, in the center, you can see that there is BIM written and four cubes there, right? Can you all guys see these four cubes? Orange,
Yes.
purple, blue, right? What what do what do these cubes represent? Okay, it's very simple. Just use your imagination. Whatever answer comes to your mind, what do these cubes represent? Please use your imagination, guys. Four cubes, it can be anything. Four cubes, even you can play Ludo with this. Okay, different components of BIM. Uh, Water, electricity, land. Okay. Does this looks like Lego bricks to someone or some cardboard boxes just placed randomly? Or did somebody break the Rubik's cube and place its edges, its corners? Or does it look like outlines of buildings? See, right now, okay, use your imagination, guys. This can be anything. You can make this anything, whatever you want to visualize. Anything from the fantasy land? Yeah. So as you can see that there is some model in front of you, and this could be a building model, this could be cubes just randomly placed, this could just be an outline, but this model itself doesn't have the power to tell you what it is, right? It is on your own gray matter, or what you see, you are getting it, right? It could be buildings for someone who is working on LOD 100, or it could be just small cubes for a child. So what happens is when we, yeah, blocks also, when we make the model, if the model is not capable of telling us what it is, it's just a model. But when it is capable of giving us the information about itself, then this information could be anything. the exact sizes, the material, or even if you go into thermal properties, the U value. So that is information modeling. So what you see here is that when you add some information to your model, when the model can talk back to you, literally tell you what it is information building information modeling. I hope the other guys who actually know the technical definition can relate. Or does somebody have any objection of what I just said? Guys who have already dealt with BIM, any objection or anything you want to add in the very childish view of BIM? Mm, anybody? Okay, so here you can see the building life cycle from programming, conceptual design, detailed design, analysis, documentation, fabrication to demolition and the renovation phase. So this is like cradle to cradle cycle. As you can see that here you get operations and maintenance, which is quite usually not talked about much while we discuss the project management part of it. When we are dealing with the construction, what we are happy with is that let's just hand it over to the client. Operations and maintenance might not be in your uh, scope. So this was the whole gist, that okay, you have to take care of operations and maintenance also. Okay, so let's come to something that has been in the slides. How does the ability to influence the project change with respect to cost and time? You guys can see the curve. The hint is in front of you. I just want to hear your opinions. I am still audible, right? We are still live. Yeah, thank you. So, yeah, this is supposed to be an interaction session. Otherwise, these 2 hours are going to be very long, and I won't be able to. I won't be able to impart much. Okay, so we have got one response. Cost increases as time increases. Okay, anybody who would like to elaborate on this?
Maybe in the starting, just the planning phase is active, so there's not much involvement of cost factor.
Okay, in planning, you have added some planning and you have added some cost factor. So let's do one thing. Let's see how these curves look like when we add some phases. We already discussed phases, right? So yeah. So what you can see is that in the initial phases, if you take any decision, the cost of construction would be very low because you haven't even started it, or you have started it, or there is just some progress. And so the level of influence can be very high for very less cost of construction. And similarly, if you move on towards the uh, design phase or construction phase, if you have already finalized the designs, if the construction has already started, even if you want to make a small change, what will happen is, okay, we already finalized the designs and at the last moment there has been some design change. How will it affect the project? We have got some experienced people here. um, Sirs, this first session is quite literally the introduction overview session, so I will need your responses. Anybody? Sorry. It will be costly to implement changes after anything has been constructed. Okay. Let's suppose that construction has not yet begun. Uh, we are the designs have been finalized, the things have been procured, and at the last moment there has been some design changes. What happens then? Early in the phase, high influence and low cost implication. Yeah, that describes the diagram.
Maybe it disrupts the flow of the project.
Yeah, it disturbs the flow. Exactly, flow in terms of time, in terms of whatever the coordination has been going on. You have to make the design changes, you have to get it approved, everything starts getting postponed, the timeline starts, the flow starts to evaporate. Redesigning is possible, but at the cost of time, effort, and money, definitely. So you can see that even if the construction has not begun, but if we are towards, if we have spent already sufficient ample amount of time, we are already in the design phase or even after procurement, bid and award. So even before the construction, if you have spent some time to make some to make some change, there will be a huge cost, not as large as what it would have been if the construction has started, but yet there would be sufficient significant cost. So now this brings me to something, some addition from the slides, the McLeamy curve. Anybody who is familiar with this curve? See, the axes are the same. The curve number 1 and 2 are the same. Anybody familiar with the McLeamy curve?
Awesome.
Okay. So let's see curve number 3. This is what is our traditional construction flow, our traditional design process. What happens is that when do we spend more effort, much effort right now? When we are documenting things or when we are just about to start the construction, right? When we are finalizing the designs at that time, right? Like we are just about to go for the bidding phase. So at that time, we spend a lot of effort. But what happens in digital design process is that the whole curve shifts towards the left. From 3, it tends to shift towards the right, 4. So what happens is that at this point, if even if you want to make some change, the cost will still be low. You guys will see this effect whenever somebody is discussing that, okay, let's adopt some digital measures, let's adopt BIM, digital twin, or any other digital technology. This point will come to 4. Okay, so next question. Who are the stakeholders in a road construction project? Quite simple, quite basic. I mean, if you start with the excavation of JCBs, it's something that everybody has seen from their childhood. In India, this is a perennial thing, goes on and on and on. So, who are the stakeholders in a road construction project? Mm, Guys, you don't even have to think about this for a long time. Just
The Road Development Authority,
okay, RDA,
contractors, subcontractors, public.
contractor, subcontractor, public. Okay, can you repeat? Yeah. Anybody else? Okay, we have got only 4 stakeholders till now. Okay, consultants. Yeah, consultants should be there. Would be engineer. Okay, let's keep the contractors and engineers separate. One to think and one to work. Okay, anybody else who should be a stakeholder? Project managers. Yeah. So someone will think, someone will work, and someone will make them work. Finance committee. Okay, it's a road, someone has to pay for it. Uh, yeah, so we have got like eight, yeah, eight, nine stakeholders now. Project planning, EHS, users. EHS in case of road project, yeah, it can be there. Users, right? Okay, so yeah, time for some quotes. This is the very common one, everybody would have heard of it, right? If I had an hour to solve the problem, I'd spend 55 minutes thinking about the problem. Why is it here? Okay, coming back to the question. The question was, who are the stakeholders in a road construction projects? Did any one of you get this question, like what kind of road are we talking about? What is the purpose of this road? Who is going to build it? Or why even are we thinking of building a road? See, I'll tell you why these questions matter. The first thing that came to your mind was that who is the stakeholder for a road? You said users, but users can be different, right? If the road is just a feeder road, or if it's a highway, if it's an expressway, the scope changed, the purpose changed, the stakeholders changed. If the road is if this road is constructed just in your farmhouse, just from the main gate to just from the entry to your main gate, right? Then you wouldn't be involving PMCs, you wouldn't be involving engineers, even engineers. You'll just be talking to one contractor, and he would be bringing the dumpers and pavers and completing the road. You see that there are so many variables to think about when you are discussing, when you're thinking about who are the stakeholders, even for such a generic project. Okay, this is not supposed to be some learning exercise or something. This was just that uh, this from next session onwards there will be numerical problems. So whenever you guys get some numerical problems or any problem that you guys get, the first thing should be, do you have all the requirements fulfilled that you need to think about it, or are you making some assumptions? Even if you don't have the requirements and you are making some assumptions, if you note these assumptions down, finally at the end of it, either your assumptions would be true or you would have to make some changes. So we will try to I will try to stress this as a problem solving part in the next sessions, that let's see what are the requirements, let's see what assumptions we have made. uh, okay, so we discussed the scope, objective. Now one more thing, uh, just okay, is media a stakeholder in a road construction project? Anybody? Is media a stakeholder in a road construction project? You are free to make your assumptions.
Basically, it provides just a means of communication to the people, like what's the progress made and how long it will take.
Okay, so you are using media as a source of disseminating the information, right?
Communication.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Uh, okay, what do you mean by a stakeholder?
Who have the interest in a specific project also are seeking for a specific chunk of profit to be
Oh,
earned.
okay. So you are saying that anybody who has interest, so direct interest would be seeking some profit or you having some use of that project, or some indirect uh, interest, right? So if you
Yes.
yeah, so if you see that, yeah, media, uh, it it is supposed to have both direct and indirect interest. Road construction projects, if it is supposed to, if it is of national importance, you will say that media will be checking it, will be checking upon it, will be taking
Hmm.
care that things are working nicely. If the
Yeah.
road is in the okay, if the road project is in operations and maintenance phase, do you think that media plays a role then? Okay, it's Indian roads. We have the problem of potholes, and social media and media is the best source right now.
Yeah, like they will work in, to identify the defects. So defect identification will be done by them. Like after identification, the that defect can be, communicated to the people and to the government and the concerned agencies.
Yeah. So you see that the stakeholders, they can have direct and indirect interest. Their interest could be positive, could be negative. So whenever you are trying to uh, decide, or even if take this as a puzzle and decipher who all are the stakeholders, I guess this example gives you an idea that you have to think from all angles. Okay, so this has been like, yeah, some discussion. uh, do you guys have doubts regarding the first week's content before we move on to some quick questions?
Not as such.
Not as such. Okay.
I haven't covered. I have watched the first week content only. Like second week, I have watched just one lecture.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. So now let's try to solve some objective type questions. Which type of contractual agreement involves a single entity responsible for the entire project, from engineering and design to procurement and construction?
That's the B option, EPC.
B option, EVC. Okay. I mean, this was quite obvious.
Mhm. Yeah, and was given in the question as well.
No, it happens in KBC. Na, the first question, the 1,000 rupee question, is supposed to be very simple. Okay. So now we will go back to the question. Types of contractual agreements. Okay. Uh, yeah, Sanjay sir, I see a hand raised. Please feel free to use your mic anytime. Sanjay Chaurasia ji, would you like to contribute? Okay. So contractual agreements, the working guys and even the people who have dealt with theory, on from top of the mind, how many types of contractual agreements can you think of? Four are in front of you. Okay, I'll just wait 20
I
seconds.
think there is one turnkey contract. I think there is
Okay,
one.
okay,
Just
turnkey.
heard of it. Like I don't know exact what does it means.
Yeah, turnkey. So as you said that you have some what you can clarification issues. So it's simple. Turn the key. So the project is handed over to the client only when everything is done. Like you go and buy real estate when the flats are complete, right?
Mhm. Fully furnished.
Fully furnished, everything is done. You just have to pay. You just have to take the key and go inside. So those kinds of projects are turnkey projects.
Okay, sir.
Okay. Anybody else? Anything you can?
So
Yeah.
turnkey and EPC are same.
No. Okay, there's one lump sum. Okay, what happens in EPC is that you, the, what you can say, there is a bigger role for the from the client side. Like, yeah, there is supposed to be only one party, but the role of client in every decision is quite high. So the flat example would not be a suitable example for comparing EPC and turnkey projects. We have got, uh, yeah, lump sum contract. Definitely, you just ask the guy to do something and he quotes it. He will do it in X amount. Then, if you have got lump sum, then it could be cost plus. It could be time plus also. Like you pay someone for the time they have spent plus material. Then there could be item rate. right? Item rate contracts that you see usually. So coming to the next question, uh, BOT contracts. Where do you see BOT contract? Built, operate, transfer. The hint is in the name itself. Okay, highways. Yeah, definitely. So can this be extended to any infrastructure, Mr. Vijay? Okay, A, the government. Yeah. So the projects are transferred back to the government. Uh, just a moment. Yeah, which contractual agreement involves the client entering into a single contract with one entity for both the design and construction of the project? Okay, design and construction. Two parts, two things, design and build. So this is design build contract. Now coming to something interesting. The hybrid annuity model is commonly used for infrastructure projects, particularly in which country? Okay, airports, banks, BOT. Yeah, guys.
Like I am not quite familiar with this HM model.
Okay, others? B, India. Okay, India again. Is this your okay? There is someone who is saying it might be US. Okay. Uh, I mean, okay, two, three responses. Guys, India is also an option. So okay, D, Australia. We are getting support from all over the globe now. What is HAM? Okay, we'll discuss it in detail. HAM model. Okay, so uh, HAM model came out for. I mean, this was basically for India. Uh, you saw what happened in COVID times, right? Your projects would usually be design, build, or EPC, whatever. So what happens is you give the contract, some construction happens, some things happen, those things are measured, and then the contractor is paid, right? So
Yes, sir.
is contractor at loss? Yeah, he might be if he doesn't have the proper cash flow. Then who is at risk? You would say that for the maximum duration, the contractor is at risk. So for all these kinds of things, uh, ham model was introduced. We'll see it in detail with one another question. Yeah, BOT contracts are commonly used for infrastructure projects, particularly in India. I guess you guys agree that this was used for highways. Okay, so this is kind of a true. Okay, so true and false, but discussing the hybrid annuity model. Anybody who would like to venture some guesses? Okay, three statements, true or false. Anybody? The amount will be paid on its progress. Okay, so let me just give you some basic idea about what ham is. So what happens is that under ham, the private entity is responsible for both the things. What both things? The construction phase also, and the maintenance of the project. For how long? During the concession period. And what happens after the concession period? As we already saw that after concession period, it would transfer to the government. This is simple. Construction and maintenance both from the same party during the concession period. This is about the ownership. Now let's come to the payment mechanism. Okay. Uh, Two models we have been, I mean, for two models we had multiple questions. One was EPC and one was BOT. So what HAM does it, that it adopts a hybrid payment mechanism. So some elements from EPC, some from BOT, so that what happens is that during the concession period, the overall period, the private entity or the contractor, the party, receives a partial payment from the government on semi-annual or annual basis, so that it can cover the project cost, and the remaining amount is invested by the private entity upfront. Still confusing, right? What is happening? The payment side. Okay, EPC में क्या हुआ? The contractor built the road. BOT में क्या हुआ? The contractor got the payment from the government. What happened in BOT? The contractor built the road, he built the tolls, and he collected the toll fees.
Like in BOT, I think they like collect the revenue for a certain period of time and then they transfer, like when they have recovered from their cost,
Yeah.
then they transfer it.
So you see, in EPC, government paid upfront or when the project was complete. In BOT, the contractor uh, took the amount from by operating. So what we are doing in HAM is that, let's say it is 40% annuity. So 40% of the project cost would be given by the government, and rest 60% the contractor has to uh, get in revenues by operating the tolls. So you can see that the contractor, in like in COVID times when the traffic was down, or in any case, the contractor starts getting a fixed amount from the government side also. So this is the HAM model, the financial part of HAM model. uh, I saw raised hand, like company. Is this point clear about the payment mechanism? Yes, like Delhi Metro. Okay, Delhi Metro, I am not so sure about it, because it was supposed to be a joint project of central government and Delhi government, the initial funding. So I'm not so sure what its status is right now. Yeah. Now one more thing that we talked about was risk. Who takes the risk? See, as a contractor, you are also worried about what's the risk attached to your project, your investment. So what happens is, here the sharing of risk also happens. While you are constructing, the private entity bears the initial construction risk. You are still in the construction phase, right? So this risk may be related to cost overruns, time overruns. It would be of the contractor. But what happens when the performance and maintenance part kicks in? The performance part, especially in COVID times, there was no traffic coming in, so you can't expect the contractor to earn the same amount of tolls, right? So that kind of risk, the performance and maintenance risk, is shared by the government. So this risk sharing model also makes it quite attractive for the contractors. Okay, so as you can see that all these three statements are false, because last one also, it is a joint risk sharing. uh, it doesn't receive full payment, and yeah, some variations are allowed as per the clauses. You can't say that no variation allowed, because if in the if in the contract itself you have some escalation clause, yeah, it would be allowed, right? Okay, so again some true false questions. How many of you guys are familiar with different levels of schedules? guys, it's already 1 hour mark. Do you think we should take a break from these slides and discuss something else? Okay, 5 levels. Guys who joined later, would you let me know about yourself as we discussed initially? Like, what do you expect from the course, or what do you expect from these sessions? See, we will come back to the material. Just limited slides left. This was the first week's content was just the overview. So we have been discussing that part only. So okay, we have got another engineer from Ravi Infra Projects and uh, working professionals. So, sir, what do you expect from this course? What do you expect to learn? What do you expect from this session? Okay, how many graduates or I mean, how many undergrads or postgrads are here? If you can just do a show of hands. Okay. Uh, we have got okay 7 till now out of 28. So that means that other half is of working professionals, and still we have not gone deep into discussions on all these things. Okay, so you're expecting some career growth and project lead from Saudi Arabia. Sir, uh, Mohammed MD sir, can you discuss what kind of contractual agreements are quite common there? This will be for the benefit of me as well as others. Uh, for everybody, please feel free to use your mics. Then and only then we can survive these 2 hour long sessions if numericals are not there.
Yes, sir. Good afternoon, sir. Actually, I was late joined now. Can you repeat the question?
Uh, yeah. So I was asking about what your expectations are from this course and these sessions, and from the working professionals, and specifically from Saudi Arabia's point of view. I wanted to know what kind of contractual agreements are uh, popular there.
Contractual agreements. My scope now we are working in an oil and gas industry.
Okay.
We are working in OHPL project now. We are a subcontract now. We are working with the EPC contractor, and the client is Aramco.
Okay. Um, yeah. So EPC, I mean, in these kinds of, uh, yeah, if you are building some, what kind of infrastructure are you building? If you can give some hint.
Yeah, we are working in this one pipeline.
Okay, so it's
This is connected from the wellhead to the operation support building.
Cross country pipeline.
okay,
Yes, but our scope is overhead power line. We have the scope of the termination,
uh,
excavation and termination.
okay. So that kind of suits the EPC model, right? I mean,
Yeah,
if the client pays upfront or whenever the handover is done, it's good.
I thought this platform is good. I checked this thing, but I joined late. I have cleared this level 0 and 1 also. I think this is good course for me.
Huh.
While I am working, it's very familiar to my job. Everything I
Okay.
am missing, I am able to learn in this session. I mean this course.
Okay. Hopefully, we will have good discussions here.
Sure, sir.
Anybody would like to? I mean, half of the class is working professionals. Can you guys please add some inputs? It is for everyone's benefit, right? Okay. So, see, there's some people who want to clear the basics. Yeah. Uh, from project management side, as I stressed in the starting also, we will be focusing on we'll focusing mostly on the scheduling part. Hopefully that works for you. We'll just be touching some of the cost part when we do crashing. Otherwise, it's supposed to be wholly project scheduling. Okay. Sirs, it would be better if you use your mics. It would be uh, time saving also, and the class would be lively. Okay, we have someone who has a legacy in civil engineering. Yeah, and you guys can go through the chat section where the risk part is discussed. Okay, just one more minute for you guys. Any last moment additions? See, you guys have to open up because we are coming very close to a activity type question where it will need some discussion of what is going on. Okay, so coming back to the questions in front of you, true or false? We already got a brief that there are 5 levels of schedules in ascending or descending order. L1 to L5 or L5 to L1? Okay, we have got L1 at the highest level and L5 at the very lowest level of abstraction, like very detailed schedule. So, which of these statements are true and false? Okay, C is false, A is true. I mean, I am just reading the answers that I am getting for the benefit of others.
B is false, I guess.
B is false.
Yeah.
Why would you say so?
Because Here it is mentioned that each phase is divided into smaller manageable tasks.
Yeah.
Actually, it should be divided into projects, I guess. So that's why I'm saying that this is false statement.
Okay. So we have got some nomenclature also here. Level 2 project schedule, level 3 sub project schedule, level 4 control schedule, level 5 work package schedule. What about level 1? Anybody? What should we call it?
Maybe that's
Okay, master
master.
schedule. So from the chat, I can see that B is true. I'm getting. Why is B true? I mean, you already heard the answer. Why it should be false? Uh, can you please help in the explanation part? Why is B true? As you are saying, we'll come to A and C also. I have got no response for D till now. Okay, A is it breaks down the project into its main courses. It is true. B, L3, each phase is further divided. Okay, management starts here at B. That's why it is true. Okay, yeah, that is kind of the thing. Let's see, we'll see it in a table form and then try to see it in other scenarios. Sorry. Hello. Yeah, it is. Yeah. Sorry for this, guys. Okay, so I have got one raised hand, Miss Pooja. Yeah. Ma'am, would you like to add? Would you like to say something? Okay, so only C statement is false because we are not providing a high level overview. What we are doing is high level overview is L1 or at max we show some overview in L2. Yeah, so this is a table for you guys just to go through it. See
Sir,
here, yeah, anybody?
please, yeah, it's be accessible for us after this session.
Okay, I will be sharing the material. Right now, I haven't written anything, so it would just be the slides,
Okay, sir.
and you will get the recording also. I will upload it on YouTube.
Okay, sir. Thank you.
Uh, okay, the guys who have joined late, would you like me to briefly go through the whole session in like 5 minutes or so?
Yes, please.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Yes.
Okay, sure.
Yes, sir.
Just a moment. I'm still a bit under the weather. Okay, so as you can see that we'll be focusing on the scheduling part. and this is how our weeks are planned. Uh, I am Venugopal Mahajan for all those who joined new. I am a PMRF fellow at IIT Delhi. My research area is digital twins, data driven decision making. These sessions, what I am trying to bring is that there should be some interactive problems. Only then these sessions can be quite useful. And yes, it is open for previous assignments discussion, not the ones that are still, the deadline is still there. You can post your queries regarding these sessions on the forum. What I expect is active participation, as even the late joiners would have seen. What I am waiting for is your replies. So for the late joiner, or if you would like to tell me about yourself, it would be better, and what you expect from this course and from me, these sessions specifically. Then we discussed, is management science or art? Just two things from Taj Mahal and Statue of Unity. That Statue of Unity, there was a case of repeatability, right? In Taj Mahal, the artist's hands were chopped off, so nobody could build another Taj Mahal, as the story goes. And the second thing was the systemic manner in which SOU was built, that you hand the contract over to any company and it would have built similar thing. Then we discussed what do you mean by project. So from the definition part, we discussed three definitions from three different associations or institutes. What the first definition gives is that it is a temporary endeavor and you have to create something unique. It could be a product, service, or result. Now, what second definition adds is that you have to have some planned objectives. It's not like you just go on in a random manner, build something, and you say as it is unique, it is a project. No, there has to be some planned objectives that you have to achieve. And the third definition, it what was happening in first two was there was no way to do it. We were not talking about the way. The third shows that it is a temporary organization, so there has to be some structure on how you achieve your goals, or if you are defining the outcomes or benefits, how you are getting it, there has to be some structured approach. Now we came to the different phases. We started with five very generic phases, and there was a quite overlap. The initiation phase, the planning phase. Initiation, where we are just spending the our minds, like okay, we need something, sorry, like let's build some dam, or we need the dam, we need some irrigation project. Then planning, like okay, what what kind of dam should be there, or should we even build a dam or not, what should be the height, all those things, what should be the catchment area. Then we come into execution phase. Okay, let's start getting the lands, let's start rehabilitating people, let's start building. So that's the execution phase. Then there is what phase of monitoring and control, that okay, the execution is going on, let's check if it's up to the standards or not. And the final was okay, closure, the dam is complete, let's start the irrigation project. So we saw that okay, these five were quite big overlapping phases that gave an idea of project phases. Then we discussed with respect to a building life cycle that there can be multiple phases, like here you can say 10, 11. What one phase that was missed before was the operations and maintenance. Like when we talk about projects, is usually is that let's build it, hand it over to the client, and we are done with it. But nowadays the operations and maintenance is also getting uh, uh, huge recognition. You will see that in buildings case also, the project completion period would be 2 or 3 years. The O&M phase would be even 30 years. Same in the case of roads. Okay, so then we discussed how does the ability to influence the project change with respect to cost and time. This gave us the idea that how in different phases the change we want to we want to make it happen, and its implied cost would be higher or lower. So as you can see that even before the construction is started, but even in the design phase itself, the the cost of making change would be higher. In construction phase it would be very high, but while you are still in the design phase or conceptual planning phase, you can make varied changes. Like let's say you want to change, initially you wanted to make a 10-story building, um, you wanted to make a b plus g plus 10, but if you want to make 2b plus uh, let's say 13, 13-story building, it would be easier, like in the start phase. But as soon as you are reaching your final design phase, or if the construction has started, that decision would be very costly. Then we saw the McLeamy curve. What the curve 4 shows us that where should we add more effort. We should give more effort where the cost of change is still low, right? So if our effort is on the left side, then what will happen? What will happen is that the cost of making change would be lower. So for our efforts, we will be get the whole process will be cost effective. So that happens in the preferred design process, which nowadays is detailed design. Then we discussed who are the stakeholders in the road construction projects, from the users to media to the contractors to the financing agency to the uh, Q and Q&A department. We discussed them. Yeah, some random quotes in between. Uh, then we then we had some questions on the contextual arrangement. Okay, guys, who joined late? Any point? Any point that you would like to discuss till now? Uh, till okay, till this guy's photo, do you have anything to discuss? Even those who have joined from the starting, any point that you would like me to stress, or any point that I haven't made it clear? Okay, so let's move on to the KBC rounds. So we had very simple questions about contextual agreements. EPC, BOT, we discussed these both in detail. This was of design build contract. Then we came to HAM model, HAM model, that is commonly used nowadays in India. So we discussed the benefits and what makes it hybrid, what is the annuity component, and what makes it the attractive option. We dis- so would you guys like me to discuss it again? You would have to ask for it. Yeah, I mean, uh, sorry sir, your voice is not that clear. Okay, it's hybrid model of two things, EPC and BOT. In EPC, what happened? The contractor built it, the client paid for it, and that's it. In BOT, what happened? Contractor built it, he operated it for some time, he earned whatever he had invested. So in HM, what happens? That some part is paid by the client and some part in by the client in terms of annuity, and some part is earned by the contractor by operating it. Like we have seen 40% HAM models where 40% payment is done by the government and rest 60% the contractor has to earn by tolls. Then we were on this part, the different levels of schedules and the details of these schedules. Okay, would anybody like to add something? Okay, we will be discussing this part. You can see the activity. Prepare different levels of schedule for a 4-course lunch. You can see my previous example was of sandwich, right? And this one is of lunch. Oh, might be I'm feeling hungry right now. Nobody knows. Okay, so you have got levels in front of you. You have to prepare different levels of schedule for a lunch. How will you proceed? We also discussed how to approach a problem, right? Get to know the requirements, note down the assumptions. Okay, yeah, please feel free to ask questions anytime. Okay, so we have an interesting question. Uh, what impact will implementation of software simulations like Monte Carlo and AI for project planning and scheduling affect the upcoming project planners? So as we see that half of our group is working professionals, would anybody like to add how they're finding these things useful in the construction projects?
Yeah. These things are useful, but still, uh, there are different types of projects and there are different types of challenges, different types of constraints are there. So each project is unique. So I don't think that the tools are more useful in that. Somewhat they will help us for scheduling, but still we have to work manually on it.
Okay, so you say that okay, in somewhat scheduling part can be uh, can be supported by these methods, right?
Yes, absolutely.
Okay. Uh, any other opinion on this? As this course is about project scheduling, I'm very happy with that answer. That okay, we'll be discussing from the scheduling perspective. But as this is about project management, uh, I would really love to hear other other points, or even if someone would like to add on scheduling part. Anybody? We just heard a good POV on scheduling. That okay, these tools can be used to a limited extent. What else? You have seen the growth in AI tools nowadays, right? LLMs, everybody is facing the brunt, I would say.
Okay, we are in scheduling now, but my question is, what are the tools you can use in to control a project actually?
Uh, okay, control a project. Uh, we
Yeah,
will will come
maybe it
to
will come later.
yeah, we will
Yeah,
come
yeah,
to that part because right now we are on this part. What
yeah,
impact
yeah. Okay,
will
okay.
implementation of software simulations affect the upcoming project planners? Anybody? Okay, so what I have got working professionals here, and they can vouch that uh, many a times it happens that when they are planning for something, when they are deciding something, it basically is from their knowledge, their perspective, right? Or whatever the SOPs have been there. Like uh, it's similar to let me give you an example. Very different from project management. We will try to link it. Okay. You have seen overnight buses on the roads, right? That ply every day on the same road. The driver knows each and every bump, each and every pothole that's coming, right? He knows the general traffic. So, from his experience, he knows how to react to any situation that is coming. How? From his experience. Can anybody else use his experience? No. First of all, it's not noted down. But that is not the case in project management, right? What the driver is the same, the road is the same, bus is the same, still accidents happen. You guys see the news. Why is it? Why the accidents happen then?
Like, there are many variables to, apart from that, like it's not solely the responsibility of driver only. There are other users as well that use the road.
Okay, so they're like variables, uncontrolled
Yeah.
circumstances. Okay, anything else? Okay, is there uh, any way to cater for these uncontrolled variables? Okay, every situation is different. You see that the same thing happens in our projects also. The safety is not taken into account. Okay, in this road case, it is the thing, safety, because accident did happen. So what you see is that keeping the team same, keeping the job profile same, even with all the experiences, the project get affected, right? There are cost overrun, time overruns, quality issues, safety issues. So what is happening is that uncontrolled variables. Now, from a personal point of view, from even from a driver's point of view, he knows that he has some 5-10 scenarios in his mind and he knows how to react to these. What if some other scenario comes? Same
Like
thing happens. Same
there's like with the drivers, there is not adaptability in the first case.
Okay, no adaptability. What is happening is that the person who is making the decision doesn't have enough brain space or enough data to make the right decision, right? Like even in case of accidents, might be that if he had pressed the accelerator a little slower, it might have been avoided. But what happened, he didn't have enough data, or he didn't have enough control over the variables. What simulation, what these softwares bring is Monte Carlo simulation. What is Monte Carlo? Basically, if I had to tell in one word, it is that every outcome is indifferent of what happened previously. Like heads or tails, how many times you toss the coins, it doesn't depend on what the previous value was. And AI for project planning. So what AI helps is that what 5 to 10 scenarios from previous experience that could have been catered for, now that number increases exponentially to 500 or 5000 that you could look up to. So that kind of data driven decision making, in those cases, project planner can these tools can help in project planning. So I have uh, you you have heard my brief on this. Do you guys agree or not? I mean, we went to in totally different direction, accidents happening on highways, and came to our project control. I really would like to listen to your opinions.
So we agree with you, sir.
Okay, thank you. Anybody would like to add something to this? I mean, we talked about two things, right? Increasing number of scenarios and data-driven decision making. Anything else these tools help in? Obviously, there was one part of knowledge management also. Okay. Uh, I hope this this answer satisfies you. So now coming to the part of project control. Sir, can you please repeat the question about softwares and project control?
Yeah, that was actually what are the tools we are using now to control a project, and it discussed on that tools actually.
Uh, okay. Sir, can you please elaborate on what exactly project control is?
Project control is to check whether we are on a right path actually, if the project is on right path or not. If it is on right path, then it is okay, but if it is out of track, then you have to control that one, control that situation.
Yes.
That is the definition actually.
Yeah. So now first thing is we have to check if we are on the right path. how do we check we are on the right path? We have to monitor what happened, then we have to compare it with what was planned, right? So right now in this course, what tools we will be discussing is we will be discussing earned value management. Coming to the software part of it, EV can be done on any project management software nowadays, let it Primavera or MSP. You can you can do earned value management from that part. But while coming to the part that okay, it will tell you whether your project is under budget, over budget, is it uh, is there some kind of time overrun, but how to deal with it, what kind of steps or what kind of measures should be taken, that is still not supported by these softwares. Yeah, with AI tools, even with adding Monte Carlo simulation to this, we can support this. uh, yeah, I have got one raised hand. Sir, can you please use your mic? Mayur Patil.
Sir, which software is better in terms of scheduling, Primavera or MS Project?
uh, okay, Primavera or MS Project. Have you seen, you have seen the MSP screen, right? It looks like MS Excel. I think you guys would agree on that. So uh,
Yes.
what I would say is, when you are dealing with only one project, then I have found MSP very powerful. I have found its input output very good. But in case of when I have got when I have got to manage the whole enterprise, when I have got multiple projects, I have got shuffling between the resources. Yeah, the same functionality is available in some way in MSP, but this part I found it very suitable in P6. So I wouldn't say, I would just say that it is up to your requirement. These are just the tools, and they both are very easy to catch up, very easy to use. Okay, I have got one another raised hand, user A8.
Yeah, I would like to ask a general question, like out of the different phases like planning, monitoring, control, and scheduling,
Yeah.
which one holds the greater importance out of these four,
Okay.
like for the successful completion of the project?
Uh, okay. So for this question, I would really like every one of you to turn on your mics, because this is, I mean, we have had heated debates on this when deciding on the while we were working on our research projects itself, like which phase should we focus on.
No, actually, you cannot neglect any of these part. Everything is every parts are important, have their own importance.
Yeah. So, but still, if you have to pick one, what would it be?
Like the lecture, you were telling that it also itself concentrates on the scheduling part only.
Yeah.
So is it like that something is more important, like some phase is more important than other? So that's why I just asked the question.
Okay. So, okay, from the theoretical point of view, you can say that if we are just working on what data we get, what data we can think of. So, in that case, in a classroom setup, you would say that okay, scheduling is something that we can focus on, that we can learn, that we can control, right? But as it happens in war, no plan stays intact after first enemy contact. So
Yeah,
whatever,
exactly.
yeah. So whatever planning, whatever scheduling you have done till you start the work, as soon as you start the work, there will be uncontrollable circumstances. There will be controllable circumstances also, but that will make you change your schedule. What you can do is, what this course helps you do is that it gives you the strength to bear all those things, to make the schedule adaptable to those changes, to help you understand how to control. So that why this focuses that's why this focuses on the mainly on the project scheduling part. There is one another course that coincidentally I am taking that covers the principles of construction management, general part from everything like safety, quality, each and everything. But this course is focused on scheduling part.
Okay, sir. Thank you. Thank you very much.
I have got only one opinion on like one or two opinions on which phase is important. Anybody else?
I guess designing is a very important stage because it affects overall project.
Yeah,
So I think it is important.
yeah, definitely. We saw that in design part, even if you make very vast changes, the cost is very low. I mean, the uh, your influence can be very high with with limited effort. So yeah, if you make some changes, if your design phase is very solid, as we say, very concrete, so yeah, that makes the design phase quite important.
Like for me, like it looks to me like the controlling is most important, because like if we have committed some mistakes, if there are some gaps in there, so the most important part will be controlling. Are we able to just correct or rectify those or not? So
Uh,
from my side, I think
okay,
controlling is most important.
yeah. So
I'm not sure whether it is
yeah,
correct or not in every
so
scenario.
so this is like project management has human parts also. I mean, it's not like written in stone that you have to follow all these things. In construction specifically, there is a human part, and okay, let me play the devil's advocate for you. Yeah, control is important. You have to make sure that everything goes right. But what is the right thing? That will be decided by the design team. That will be decided in the design phase. How and
Exactly.
when you have to do the right thing, that will be decided in the scheduling phase. If both these things are not in sync, there would be a lot of trouble in during the construction, during the control phase, that you don't even have the baseline, you don't have the exact baseline to match with. This can be possible, right?
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Yeah, we will have a whole week on yeah, one full lecture on control, project control. Okay, so uh, this activity, anybody would like to contribute? Prepare different levels of schedules for a four-course lunch.
Like schedule as in like just listing out the activities, or
Yeah, you can just discuss like how you would like to, how you, how would the flow be to make these schedules, or what items would be there.
maybe first we have to decide like which meal we prefer, like continental, Italian, or uh, like that.
Okay, so a valid question has been raised. Others, can you please help him in deciding?
We can go through the menus and we can check the prices also. What is my budget today for the dinner? Or we can, according to the budget, we can fix our menu.
Okay, so this brings me to my first curveball. The point here was that, as we discussed, the scope is not listed. The person, the for whom the schedule is being prepared, for which activity, it is not clear here.
Yeah.
So, so right now it is from the chef's perspective, or the person who is managing the kitchen. From his perspective, from uh, this four-course lunch and different schedules include everything from bringing the ingredients to serving. So now, if we go down to level one, you can see that it is from the management's perspective, from bringing the ingredients to serving. What would be the high-level milestones and deliverables? The L1 schedule, the master schedule.
Arranging resources.
Okay, arranging resources. Don't you think that, okay, for each and everything we will discuss where it should fall. Don't you think that arranging resources would be there in whatever small parts you break your four-course lunch in? Like if there are appetizers, starters, main course, desserts, For each of these, you have to arrange resources.
Yes.
So should it be the part of master schedule, or should it be somewhere around control schedule?
Uh, uh, I said this because if
Maybe
I know what resources I am having,
Okay.
depending on that, I can cater.
Sir, you are providing for a four-course lunch at a five-star restaurant. I am 100% sure that whatever requirement, whatever items, whatever resources you need, you will be able to manage.
maybe we need a quantity estimate or something like how many people will be catering to, so that
Okay.
need to be one input there, so that can be the level one.
Yeah. So level one would be that okay, I have to serve for 20 people
Yeah,
and I
yeah.
have to serve them four-course lunch. And that could be our milestones could be that let's bring the ingredients as was said, let's prepare the food and let's serve them, right? In level 2, planning the requirement for the dishes. What else? So now we have discussed some level 1. What about level 2? See, this is not a construction related example. I will tell you why. Because in the next session, we will be discussing a construction related example as we'll be focusing on work breakdown structures for the guys who have already started on week 2 contents. Okay. Anyway, we have got one item for L2, planning the requirement for the dishes. Anything else? Like in level 2, we can also decide now that okay, in level 1 we didn't describe the four courses. In level 2, let's break it down. That there would be starter, appetizer, main course, lunch in whatever order, main course, dessert in whatever order you want, right? And when you fix the order, that can give you the critical path. And if these major items are decided, then you can say that okay, if I have to serve my appetizer by this time, let's say by 10:40 p.m., 10:40 a.m. I have to serve my appetizer. So if it needs some serving time, 10 minutes of serving time, then it needs 1 hour of cooling, so before that time we have to bring it. So we can still break it down into milestones and deliverables. As soon as we start attaching the dependencies and resources, uh, like okay, I have to bring these materials, then if we have brought the appetizers, if we have brought the drinks, and if we have kept them for cooling or whatever the process it was required for, there is some kind of dependency. So now there is something that we can control, that becomes our L3. Then you keep on adding the details, like okay, what exactly has to be done, who will do, that becomes your L4, and at the exact right time when you have to match it, it becomes L5. What you see here is that again there is a quite overlap between the bottom three levels, right, and first two levels. How you divide all these things, that kind of thing we will see in work breakdown structure on how to actually take up a work and break it down into small chunks, small manageable and deliverable chunks. I know I am rushing this because we are towards the end of the session. Last 10 minutes. Uh, okay, floor is open for you guys. Would you like to add anything in this example or for this session?
So, regarding the tools in project control, what you have told that MSP and Primavera is already there, but mostly it will depend upon the experience of that project manager or the personnel involved in project, experience of that personnel in project management and all, isn't it?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, the decision making capability is still uh, vested in the hands of humans. So that is going to be a knowledge driven and experience driven process.
Yeah, yeah, right.
Mm. Anybody who would like to go back to four course lunch if he or she is hungry? I mean, I prepared the whole example in detail. if you want to discuss. Okay. So there was only one quote today, so another quote. Yeah, this is my pet peeve. The art and science of asking questions is the source of all knowledge. For me also. Yeah, I have got a raised hand. Uh, yeah, everyone, I would like to know what you expect in the next sessions, or how I could contribute more to these sessions. I can take it into planning for the next sessions. That would be quite helpful for you also.
Like, sir, there are many candidates like who are not into this field of project management or construction management really. So maybe you can include some case studies, kind of a thing, uh,
Okay,
to give a exposure to the professional world.
okay. So some detailed questions from the next time.
Yes, sir.
And another thing I want to ask, the difference between that project management and construction management. What is the difference, the major differences, and what is that thin line where we can differentiate from project management and that construction management?
It's just in the name. I mean,
Mm,
when,
mm,
as we saw in the definition part, when your objective, when your product is related, when your unique product or service is related to construction field, it becomes a part of construction management.
Project
So,
management is like a broader term. Like maybe it can be a software development or a construction project, or it can be a nuclear power project or anything, or maybe a a research project like developing a missile. So that could be also be the case.
yeah, yeah, all these things can be a project. Okay, we didn't discuss on one thing. What is the difference between a project and a process?
Process is like repeatable in nature, and project is unique,
Uh,
and process also stays for a longer period of time. Like and project is like temporary in nature.
okay, so let's suppose that you are a developer who has to build 400 condos. So what you are doing is you are building it in batches of 40 each, like 40 houses first and then next 40 houses. So there is a lot of repeatability. The project timeline is also large, right? You repeat the process 10 times. So is this a process or is this a project?
Like it has both of the parts. Like it is like going in a process mode for some time, and then again in a project mode, and then in a process mode. It's kind of that.
Okay, yeah, that seems to be some answer. But uh, what is the dividing line? I mean, how can you say that it is going into process mode and it has now come back to the project mode? Is
like
there some
while
point?
while we are constructing specific units of houses, then it comes in a process mode, and then when we are shifting to a new groups, then again the project mode, and then process mode.
Okay. So it's like if you keep on adding some uniqueness, if you keep on making some
Yes, sir.
proper objectives, then you can say that you are still in the project mode. I got one another answer. Building the first tower and designing that tower would be unique. Building two towers of same type would be a process. Sir, you can say that even while building the second tower, the location has changed, the timeline has changed. From the first tower itself, you have got some learning curve. So, building it again, your schedule has crashed. So, uniqueness in the construction process itself has came. Okay, within the same project society. Okay, this is kind of open to discussion. Like last time when it was in uh, session, uh, the discussion was whether Ram Mandir is unique or not. Okay, I've got one raised hand. Mayur Patel, sir, would you like to add?
Yes, I guess project is a set of activities, and the process is how you are going to execute the project.
Uh, okay, not I've okay. It is quite ambiguous and not something that I find easy to agree with. Anybody would like to support his opinion?
No, no. Process is like a assembly line, like in making a car. That is, everything is fixed. Everybody knows. That is a process. But in project, it will not any definite result. It may not come.
There are different possibilities. Like,
Yeah.
Okay, so sir, one question: is building a race car a project or a process? You are building a race car for F1 race. Noida has got a great circuit now. Okay, I got a project.
yeah, it is, I think, a project only. So because that's very
Yes, it is
specific
project.
according to that has some specific outcomes that are to be completed according to the specifications that are required. Maybe
Okay,
the top speed limit, or maybe the the body of the that vehicle that is to be kind of a streamline or something.
okay. So now building a car becomes a project. What if you have to deliver? What if an order has been placed that a diamond merchant wants to gift his employers cars, and he has placed the order of 100 cars? Will this be a project or a process?
No, that's a process. That's a process. But to make a customized car, I think it is a project.
Okay, so see, what is happening here is that as soon as I bring a diamond merchant who has a specific objective of procuring 100 cars to give to his employees on
Like for
Diwali.
him, it seems to be a project, but the manufacturing company that is making it, for them it is like a process.
Yeah, so
So that depends on the
on how
person
you
we are
break it
talking about.
down, right? Yeah, even if you see it from the manufacturing company's point of view, for the factory it is a process. Like they have to make 100 cars of already they were making 200 cars per month, so making 100 cars is not a new thing for them, it is a process. But for the sales team or the one who brought the client, for him it is a project, right?
Yes, sir. So it depends basically, like person to person,
Yeah, person to person or stakeholders, or
the stakeholders.
yeah. Hopefully you got some things to think about, project versus process.
Yes, sir, definitely.
Okay. Uh, any any more questions or any suggestions for the next session? We will be here for almost 2 months.
So another thing I would like to know, I don't know it is related or not, but that is same in what is the job differentiation between a project manager and a construction manager? Today in today's project we are seeing two personalities. That is, one is project manager, and under him there is a RCM, resident construction manager.
Yeah.
So how can you differentiate the job responsibilities between them?
Mm, okay. So this again becomes a loaded question because, and this part we will be dealing in the first half of the next session when we will be
Yeah,
discussing work breakdown structure.
yeah,
So I will add the stakeholder component to it.
yeah.
Yeah, I will make a note of it definitely. Mm, okay. Anybody else? Anything that you would like me to bring to the next session?
Can you please share the slides, sir?
Uh,
I just missed the session.
yeah, I will share the slides. I will upload the video on YouTube also.
Sure, sure, sir.
Yeah.
When will be the next session, sir?
And same time next week, we will be meeting on the same time.
Okay. What time, sir? I received an email on 4:30. You
Okay.
started early, sir?
No. It would be 6 to 8 p.m. on Saturdays.
Oh, sorry, 6 to 8. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you, sir.
IST for the people who are joining from outside. We have got a couple of participants from, yeah, Indian Standard Time. I guess this brings us to the end of this session.
Sir, you did not mention in the schedule this level schedule, this procurement. You did not mention in design, engineering, where it will come, sir.
Uh, okay, let's in what in phase. Do you want it to discuss from the phase part, or the levels L1, L2, L3 part?
Level part.
Level part. So you will see that in each and every case, let's suppose, uh, let's talk about the procurement. Okay, there can be the site-wide procurement, or there can be a location specific. Let's say that there is a room that needs painting. Out of the 1,000 rooms at site, the paint is already being procured at once in the store. But for the person who is going to paint it, he needs to bring the material, right? A specific amount of material for that part, for that work to be done. So the procurement part can fit into L3 also and L4 also for a specific small task that you have to do.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, all these things, I guess, when we see the work breakdown structure, I should be in the better position to discuss. I mean, I don't want to discuss all the things in air.
Okay, okay.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you guys. Thank you very much for joining. I really liked the
Thank you.
session.
Thank you.
Hopefully I would see you in the next session.
Thank you, sir.